That's what elite salespeople do.
Closers, stop forgetting to referral ask on your sales calls. Every time you talk to a client, stop forgetting to ask for referral. And if you're forgetting, it's probably because it's not a reflex. And if it's not a reflex, it's because you probably haven't practiced it. So this is your wake call.
This is a great example that, the best soccer player in the world at the moment is probably Lionel Messi. There's going to be a fight about that, but I reckon it's Lionel Messi. Most people would agree. The best in the world. And it is currently 7:15 a.m. Yes, this is the commitment we have to you, our closers. It's 7:15 a.m.
Grand rising to you.
What do you think Lionel Messi's doing right now at 7:15 a.m.?
He's not getting a McMuffin at the McDonald's drive-thru.
Probably not.
He's probably training, practicing.
He is. And he's the best in the world. And he's practicing. Hey, closers, we've got an amazing episode for you today. Today, we're diving into a habit that is so strong it could make or break your sales calls. Today, we're talking about mastering your talk tracks. And this is Carlos and Sophia, and we're coming at you right out of Miami. Hey, good morning, Sophia.
Good morning, Carlos. And welcome back, listeners.
What are we welcoming them back to, Sophia?
Well,
is it an ISHTU episode? Do you know what? It's not. It's an unscripted. It's not. It's an unscripted selling episode because
we're having that Cadillac rebrand. You know what I'm saying?
We're New Coke, right? We're New Coke.
That's right.
Actually, that's bad, actually, because New Coke
from Miami,
right?
That can mean many things.
Yeah.
We're not New Coke. What
are we?
We're
the iPhone 15. We're iPhone 15. That's what we are. We're new and improved. New and improved. So you're going to notice, and I don't know if our team are going to get to it this event, this episode, or if they're going to get to it next episode. And I know that we've given them absolutely no time for this, so it's probably going to be next episode. But we're rebranding. We're rebranding for a really interesting reason. It seems that our followers, our listeners, our audience, our peeps, you guys knew what ISHTU meant. It shouldn't happen to us. You guys knew it. You were all over it. But it seems that all the people that didn't know us had no idea this was a sales podcast. And so we've decided to bite the bullet. It's a sad moment, actually. I'm a little bit sad about it, Sophia.
I don't think so. I think we are new packaging, same great taste.
Okay, I like that. Okay, new packaging, same great taste. It's like, in England, they Snickers bar didn't used to be called a Snickers bar. For all our UK followers,
fans,
you'll know that. If you're old enough, you'll know it. It didn't used to be called a Snickers. It used to be called a Marathon. It was exactly the same as a Snickers. It was made by the people who make Snickers, which I think is Mars. The packaging everything was the same, apart from the name on the packet, which was Marathon. Don't know how that happened. We should look into that. And then, obviously, the global branding people at Mars one day just thought, you know what, we've got to bite the bullet. We've got to have a global brand. And one day, there were no marathons in the candy store anymore. They were called Snickers, just like in America. And we're the same. We're just changing the name on the wrapper. Everything else is the same. So you know what you should do? You should like and subscribe, I think. Don't you think?
I think so, because this podcast is sponsored by Snickers. No, I'm kidding. Soon. Coming soon.
Wouldn't that be good?
That
would be charged for a Snickers.
Manifest it.
Do you know what? That would be cool, because salespeople need energy in the middle of the day. I don't know if I'd like that, actually. It's got to be bad for your health. But salespeople need energy in the middle of the day. And
it would really differentiate us. Our other podcasts are doing athletic greens. We're doing Snickers.
Yeah, they're doing athletic greens. And like proper sales stuff, like, HubSpot sponsoring them. And
we're doing Popeye's popcorn chicken.
And what we're doing, Reconcito Cafe. Right?
Yeah, El Mi Rinconcito Mexicano on 8th Street. Shout out to, they got the best pork tostadas.
What's that place? Palacio de Jugos.
That's right. There's fun.
By Palacio de Jugos.
I'll be getting a sugarcane juice on the way to this morning. So
guys,
Carlos,
It's a great episode. We're going to talk about talk tracks, about how important they are. And if you hang around till the end, we got such an amazing message from one of our listeners. So, Kenny, you know who you are. I know you're going to be listening to this. We're going to talk about you at the end, buddy. And we'll only say nice things. We're not going to tell them the whole truth. We're going to talk about talk tracks. Sophia, what are talk tracks? Why are they important in selling?
Carlos, I love that question. I embrace it. Talk tracks. Think of talk tracks, listeners, and you'll always be ISHTUers to us. Listeners, talk tracks are like closers.
Remember we had a meeting about that. We're going to call everybody closers.
Closers, that's right. All right, that's the last time I ever say that. Yeah. Think about talk tracks like your script. I would say, I don't know about you, Carlos, but I would say that most salespeople, probably no one listening, none of the closers that are listening to this episode, but most salespeople fail to execute on a sales call because they've got a pre-call plan. But even though they've got a pre-call plan and they've got some questions they want to ask, they don't have the lyrics from start to finish. And the conversation is more likely to go weird when you don't have a nice beginning, middle, and end. The talk tracks are what help us keep control of the conversation and facilitate a conversation that's rich in truth, where we're asking great questions, because we know that sales is really about the information that we gather and not the information that we dispense. And some of that information that we're trying to gather, prospects are trying to withhold for understandable reasons. And so our talk tracks create an environment where in the buyer-seller arena, where the buyer can stop holding their cards close to their vest, let down their walls, and answer those questions truthfully. And those talk tracks are really the skeleton that hold up that conversation rich in truth. Is that a good explanation? Was that?
It was a lot. It was a lot of an explanation. It was a lot. And it's interesting because, our new branding is called Unscripted Selling. And I would imagine that our closers out there are going to be scratching their head and going, wait a minute, I thought we were unscripted. Yeah. Now I'm a little bit confused. And I think the two things can be true at the same time.
Yep. Like improv.
That's so cool. Can you hear that?
I can hear that. Does that mean that breakfast is ready?
Breakfast is ready. Okay.
Wakey,
cool.
Wakey, eggs and bakey.
Wakey. Thanks for that, guys. Somebody opened the door when the alarm was on. So, who knows? Maybe our production team can edit that out. It would be a good test, actually. Wonder if our production team actually watch the episode before they edit it, even when we give them absolutely no time.
That's a good test. It's like the green M&Ms.
And whether it's like, it is like the green M&Ms. Let's see whether that gets edited out or not. So you might be scratching your head. Wait a minute. Unscripted selling, talk tracks. The two things can be true at the same time. You must be to be an elite salesperson. Look what I did there. I escalated. I went from be to you must be unscripted. In a sales call if you are an elite seller, because the script is going to get in your way. However, talk tracks are a superb crutch. Talk tracks, building a reflex, having a quiver full of arrows to deploy at just the right time. That isn't a script. That's just having those extraordinary questions, stab statements, little packages of speech ready to deploy, such that we can. The real benefit of having these reflexes, these talk tracks ready, the real benefit, in my opinion or in my experience, is that we can it takes a hell of a lot of the thinking out of the sales call. Now,
which means
why do we want to take the thinking out? That's an important point. We want to take a lot of that thinking out such that we can do another kind of thinking. It's not like that we're being lazy. it's if I'm thinking about what to say, then there isn't enough. Maybe it's because I'm cognitively challenged. But if I'm thinking about what to say, there isn't enough RAM available for me to do that most important job in sales, which is observe my prospect, listen to my prospect, be completely present, right?
It's not to deliver my pitch deck. That's not the most important thing. It's not to talk about the history of the company and be convincing, Carlos.
Oh, that's what, you make a really good point. Whatever you do, when Sophia and I talk about talk tracks, we are not talking about your pitch deck, the history of the company, all that nonsense here's the good news for you elite sellers. All the rest of the sales guys are doing that. That's great news. That means you're going to get that deal. So the right deals you'll get, because that isn't what wins a deal. What wins a deal is about being provocative and challenging and insightful, about the questions you ask. It's about, and that's why a lot of these talk tracks, they are there to give you a road to run on, so you haven't got to think about stuff, and you can be completely present. By being completely present, you can actually dip into your quiver and pull out the right arrow, the right talk track. An example of that is a pattern interrupt. I think pattern interrupts are one of the best talk tracks we use. A pattern interrupt is there such that we have a reflex when a prospect answers the phone, or we first meet a prospect. There's a human desire that needs to be managed. There's a human desire, a human instinct to be tribal and liked, which is why so many salespeople open a sales call with, "How are you today?" Because it's a nice thing to say. It's what the rest of the tribe says. So if we let our human instincts run rampant, we'll open the call with, "Hey, how are you today?" And it's terrible because that's like ringing a bell, sales guy in town. Mm-hmm. So we develop a talk track. So we haven't got to think too hard. We haven't got to fight that human instinct. We just deliver our talk track. "Hey, George, don't know if you're the right guy to talk to." Or, "Hey, George, I'm a little confused." Something that is not a typical sales guy. What's your favorite pattern interrupt?
For me, I really like to bewilder, but that's me. I really like the recipient of the phone call to be thinking, who on earth is this? So I like to go, "George, Sophia Rodriguez."
Right.
And then dead air at the end. It's really dead air. It's not the Sophia Rodriguez.
It's not. It's the
dead air. And now they're like, do I know her? And now they're thinking, I'm kind of embarrassed because it sounds like with the conviction in her voice, sounds like I should know her and I don't. And now I'm unbalanced, or I don't know who the hell you are, right? Whatever it is, but it's, yeah.
Do you know what? We live in Miami though, right? You're not the only Sophia Rodriguez in town.
That's right.
You must occasionally get, "Sophia." You must occasionally get, "Sophia, how the hell are you?"
Are you kidding me? In Miami, I get the wrong meds at the pharmacy, and it's never anything fun. It's always an ointment of some kind. Anyways,
you get your hemorrhoids.
I gotta give I gotta give my address. But yeah, that's my favorite one. And then I go into, let me tell you why I'm calling, and then you can decide whether it makes sense to keep talking, or I'll get out of your hair forever.
Nice pattern interrupt.
All right.
See, how different is that then? "Hey, how are you today?" So this is another interesting benefit. Crouching tiger, hidden benefit in I love that.
Package.
Crouching tiger, hidden benefit in having your talk tracks polished and ready to deploy. The talk track helps you fight that human tribal instinct that's going to get you in trouble. "Hey, how are you today?" "Hey, it's Carlos here from Sandler Selling. Let me tell you why I called." It's like, ding, 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 sales guy, put the phone down. Whereas what Sophia demonstrated, and it's slick because she's practiced again and again, it's not a script, it's a talk track. Another great example is, your 30-second commercial. We teach all our clients a 30-second commercial now, and before everybody hits stop on the because this is a hackneyed This is an overused expression. I get it. I know that every sales course you've ever been on has asked you to put together a 30-second commercial, but there's a reason for that. Every sales guy needs a 30-second commercial in their quiver.
Come on, man.
To deploy at the right time.
Carlos, how many networking events have you gone to? And when you say, hey, nice to meet you, what do you do? How many times have you left that conversation thinking, I have no idea what they do? Maybe I'm an idiot, but I'm like, I have no idea what they just told me. I really don't know.
Now, if they've been to another sales training course, you know, the Dale Carnegie course or whatever, I shouldn't shade on our Dale's cool. Dale Carnegie's absolutely cool. And the local guys, Christina, if you're listening to this, you guys are great. But if you've been to another sales training, they'll do a 30-second commercial, which is very me focused, right? It's very
elevator pitch,
elevator
tank.
Pitch. Yeah. I do this and I do that and I do the other, and aren't I amazing? And look at how the candlelight dances in my eyes. I mean, it's all about
lovely?
Me. Right? Whereas a great 30-second commercial looks at it through the other end of the telescope. Hey, you know, we do sales training and you know, we're helping people. Usually it's teams that are cool, but they're, you know, sometimes they're not opening enough new accounts, not prospecting like they should, or sometimes they're, you know, sometimes they find the only way they can close a sale is by giving a discount. It's chewing away all the margins. You know, it's looking at it from the customer. It's pain-based. It's problem-based, not solution-based. Most 30-second commercials make the mistake of being solutions-based. We don't talk about solutions in our 30-second commercial. We talk about problems. And so, very different. That has to be a talk track. You got to have your talk tracks locked and loaded. What are some of your favorites?
I think you have to have, what about in leadership? What about for coaching meetings? How many times you just came from this meeting, that meeting, now you're on a coaching call with one of your salespeople for sales leaders in the room. Leaders, don't improvise your coaching calls. Have a structure, have your talk tracks. When our salespeople give us pushback on something that they're not doing enough of or not doing well, how are we going to coach them through that? And how are we going to avoid falling into the trap of training them how to do it versus having a cool coaching conversation where we help them discover on their own through talking it out what they should be doing and how they should be doing it. And that's all about the questions we ask. Have you got
a cool go-to that you love for coaching?
I've
got a couple. Go on.
Okay. I want to hear yours.
Okay, so when I'm in a tricky spot, I'll say, do you want me to tell you what you want to hear, or do you want me to tell you something that's going to be helpful?
Oh,
permission.
Nice.
Or
Permission.
I'll use, hey, you know what? Do you think that's always true, or is it just conveniently true in this situation?
Yeah.
You know, it's those questions, and I've got like a basket full of them. I even have a pre-coach plan, which has got listed like 30 of these questions that I can just pull out of my bag when needed, so that I can, again, just like in a sales call, for somebody I'm coaching, I can be completely present. Right?
Well, and even better than the list, they should be loaded in the subconscious brain. You should have the reflex when someone on your sales team brings you an issue, that assumptive reflex of, hey, so when you asked the prospect to invite decision maker 1 and 2, how did they respond? And they should be thinking, oh, shoot, I didn't invite. Or when you tried X, Y, and Z, what were the results? Assume that assumptive questioning should be a reflex, right?
Reflex. So who's the quarterback at Sebi? My Sebi's always talking about Patrick Mahomes. Is he a quarterback? I don't know. Mm-hmm. So Patrick Mahomes, right? The ball, he gets the ball from the whatever that lineup thing is that they do. So he gets the ball, right? And he looks up, and in an instant, he knows where he's throwing it. Like in a heartbeat. He certainly hasn't got the time to survey the full field where every player is and what direction they're running at and at what speed and where all the opposition are, he doesn't have time to process that. He is not a supercomputer with quantum computing, understanding the vectors and the relative sides and speeds of all these players. Mm-hmm. And yet he instantaneously knows where to throw the ball. Why? How does he do that? How does he do it, Sophia? How can he look up, see something of absolute chaos, and instantly know where to throw the ball?
Well, Carlos, it must be because he's done it freaking thousands of times. It's like, do you ever notice when you brush your teeth in the exact same way every time?
Same order, same part of the mouth.
Same order. Yep. Probably because he's done it a million times.
That's right.
It reminds me of that book, a great book, Talent is Overrated. Did you ever read that one?
Yes, amazing book, yeah.
It speaks to this. Talent is overrated. It's about reps, creating that muscle memory, right?
So Patrick Mahomes looks up and reacts. He doesn't decide. He doesn't process. He reflexes. He reacts to exactly what he sees because he's done it 1,000 times. You're in a sales call and there's like so many things for you to monitor. You're monitoring your own sort of tonality, ego state, what the relative pressure is between you and the prospect, the micro movements on the prospect's face, the small intonations in the voice. You're reading the room like an expert. You're analyzing their behavioral style, your own behavioral style, how those might be mismatched. You're all the time, you've got that command intent of trying to get to the goal of the meeting as well, the goal of the sales call as well, which is like a yes-no decision on the next step. So there are 500 things at play, just like Patrick Mahomes. 500 things at play. That's just like Patrick Mahomes has done it 1,000 times on the training pitch. Mm-hmm. That's what elite salespeople do. They instinctively know because they've done it 1,000 times.
Yep. Listen, closers, stop forgetting to referral ask on your sales calls. Every time you talk to a client, stop forgetting to ask for referral. And if you're forgetting, it's probably because it's not a reflex. And if it's not a reflex, it's because you probably haven't practiced it. So this is your wake call.
This is a great example that, the best soccer player in the world at the moment is probably Lionel Messi. There's going to be a fight about that, but I reckon it's Lionel Messi. Most people would agree. The best in the world. And it is currently 7:15 a.m. Yes, this is the commitment we have to you, our closers. It's 7:15 a.m.
Grand rising to you.
What do you think Lionel Messi's doing right now at 7:15 a.m.?
He's not getting a McMuffin at the McDonald's drive-thru.
Probably not, right?
Probably not. He's probably training, practicing.
He is. And he's the best in the world. And he's practicing. This referral last one is a great example, right? We all know we've got to ask for a referral. Ask for a referral, ask for a referral. We all know that. But you get to the end of the meeting and you think, got to ask for a referral. And like this is in the RAM that isn't trying to converse and analyze. There's a little part of your RAM that goes, referral time. Because you know the general anatomy of your sales call, and there's a time when you ask for an introduction. And if I've now got to consume my RAM with okay, I've got to ask for a referral, and then make it up there and then, that's nutso. So you get your referral talk track out of your quiver. Out of the quiver comes the referral talk track. Hey, George. Do you know, it's rare that I meet somebody as well connected as you in the marketplace. Stroke. It's rare I meet somebody as well connected as you. It would be foolish if I was to let this meeting close today without asking you, who is there in your world that would value a conversation with me? I know you got to know somebody. That's a talk track. I've said that like that 1,000 times. So that when I go referral, I don't have to think, what am I going to say? Referral, it's like Hawkeye in the Avengers. Referral arrow comes out. You don't know who Hawkeye is. Okay.
No idea.
Give me one of your favorites. Give me one of your favorites.
Gosh, well, the referral asking one is one of my favorites. I love bonding and rapport at the top of the meeting. Instead of asking the guy about his golfing photo behind his on the shelf behind his desk, I love building bonding and rapport by asking George, and I say it like this every single time. This is at the top of a discovery call. This means that I've already had an intro call with him. Carlos, can I ask you something that's been driving me nuts since our intro call?
Yeah, sure.
How on earth did you get into this industry?
Do you know what? This has got me out of so much trouble. That talk track's got me out of so much trouble. I'll tell you why. I know that I have to do more bonding than I'm naturally wired for. See, you're a bonder. I'm not. I'm the miserable guy. In a party, I'm the miserable guy in the corner, scrolling through my phone nursing a glass of wine, hoping nobody notices me, with a little plate of cheese. I'm the guy you don't want to be with me in a party. I don't want to be
You're
there.
reading a book.
I'm reading a book in the corner. There's music blaring. There's people with those neon, the little.
That's our full-blown rave.
Yeah, and I'm in the corner.
And you're reading The Art of War. Corner.
I'm that guy. I used to go to when I was a kid. I used to go to a great nightclub with my friends in England called the Hacienda. And it was a great nightclub because they used to serve coffee. I don't want to get drunk with these guys. I used to sit in the corner, literally would sit and drink coffee in the nightclub. Something wrong with me.
I love that for you.
Something wrong with me. Right. Do you know what? You got to get your talk tracks right, guys. It's so important. Now, in the last couple of minutes. Oh, and by the way, guys, if you're not liking and subscribing, you're missing this gold. We're dropping gold on you.
There's so many. If you want more talk tracks, let us know, closers, because we could do talk tracks for 20 episodes if we wanted to, man.
Do you know, it's an important point. You should let us know. You should email us. You should put comments. You should go on LinkedIn.
Yep.
Let's tell them what we heard from Kenny on LinkedIn. Got a great message from Kenny. So Kenny was a client of ours years and years and years ago. And Kenny, we miss you, buddy.
That made our day.
Kenny sends a message to us. He said, just found your podcast. I've binged watched episodes, 10 to 30 odd. He said, I'm in a flow state. I've been laughing all day long. And every time I've had a call to do or an email to do, I've just felt I've channeled Sophia and Carlos full of steel, full of juice. We've kept him in a flow state, Sophia. We kept him laughing all day long.
I love that he's been laughing because closers, if you're listening and laughing, if you're laughing, you're learning. Antonio always used to tell me that. If they're laughing, they're learning.
It's 100%. And also, if you ain't laughing every day in sales, you're getting something wrong because this is the best job in the world. You're getting it wrong if you're not laughing, if you're not having an absolute ball. So guys, be like Ken. Be like Ken. Like, subscribe. Let's get juiced up by the episodes, really get them cooking inside you. Channel your inner Carlos and Sophia, because when we sell with steel, but we sell full of heart. We come from a really good place.
Lighthearted, but not lightweight.
Yeah, we're lighthearted and heavyweight. Sophia's lighthearted and I'm heavyweight. So tell them, give them the takeaway, Sophia. What should they take away from today?
Talk tracks. They're important. If you're not doing this, you're not doing the things you're supposed to be doing on a sales call. It's because perhaps you haven't gotten the reps in. You don't have those beautiful talk track reflexes that allow you to be ever so present in a sales call, which allows you to listen. So that means practice those talk tracks. Email Carlos, email me, Sophia. Find us. We'll give you some talk tracks. Practice them. Find a buddy to practice with. Because not knowing your talk tracks is amateurish, and you guys aren't amateurish if you're listening to this podcast. So and you know what else is amateurish? To not like and subscribe to our channel.
And sign up for the newsletter. Guys, here's the mental list. Just tick down it. Have you got your pattern interrupt talk track? Have you got your 30-second commercial talk track? Do you know your SVIC? Do you know your transitional moments? Do you know those control talk tracks? You got your stroke talk tracks, your referral talk tracks, your low stakes
budget, uncovering budget talk tracks,
budget talk tracks, your pain talk tracks, your decision making talk tracks. Guys, get your talk tracks locked and loaded. And like Hawkeye, get them all in the quiver, ready to deploy at the right time.
Send us some comments, and then reward yourself with a marathon bar.
With a marathon bar. Only the 40, 50-year-olds from England know what I'm talking about. Reward yourself with a marathon
Once
bar.
You have all your talk tracks down. That's right.
Hey, you know what?
Thanks for
from
listening.
Miami, this is unscripted selling because it shouldn't happen to us. Sophia, goodbye from Sophia.
And goodbye from Carlos.
Bye, closers.